If you've been working on your niche for more than 6 months and it still doesn't feel right, the problem is probably not your niche. I want to be honest with you. If you've spent a whole bunch of time trying to figure out your niche, trying to decide on your niche, trying to fine tune your niche, the niche is not the problem. The challenge here is the emotion. It takes courage to decide on your niche. I know that's not what you want to hear because niche feels like a strategy problem. It feels like a clarity problem, or maybe the research is the challenge. But if it's taking you this long, it's no longer a strategy. You're stuck in overthinking. Strategy problems are solvable. You can keep working on them, keep refining, fine tuning, keep incrementally getting closer. But overthinking challenges, you solve them in a different way. You solve them by taking action. And one tiny action can be enough. Courage problems are different. They ask you to stop refining and start showing up. Let me share what I see. I talk to coaches all day, every day. And when I meet a new coach who has rewritten their niche statement a dozen times, maybe they've shifted their target market, they've narrowed it, then they've widened it, then they've re-narrowed it again. They might have hired someone to help positioning. Maybe they have spent hours on it. These people, I have seen them, I have talked to them, and they are genuinely thoughtful, heart-led, skilled coaches. And they keep saying, I don't have clarity yet. When I ask them to describe who they most want to work with, they can tell me in specific detail right away. They know, and they have known for a while. What they haven't done is they haven't said out loud in public, because saying it out loud means owning it. And owning it means being seen. It means putting a stake in the ground. And then when we're seen, somebody might disagree with us. Maybe they ignore us. Maybe somebody tells us that niche is too small, or who knows? But owning it feels risky because you might say, well, if I don't get my niche just right, I might not be successful. I might not be able to sign clients. And I want to be successful. I want to help clients. I better get this right. So they keep refining because refining it feels like progress, but without having to show up. Here is what is underneath this for so many people. They think that choosing a niche is somehow an act of identity, that it is saying who they are, not who they support, what you know from the inside, what you've lived through or worked through or stood up to. That is your identity. Who you are is your identity, but the niche is who you help. The truest version of that niche also feels quite personal. It's the one that would require them to bring themselves to the table and say, I coach this person in a real way because I have been that person. It's the coach who knows they want to work with perfectionists because they have struggled with perfectionism themselves. It's the coach who wants to help somebody lose the last 10 pounds and they figured it out. It's the coach who wants to help somebody with burnout and they've had their burnout experience too. And sometimes they've experienced burnout more than once, but they've stuck with it and they've grown and they've overcome it. See what I mean about it being a personal thing? It can be really vulnerable to put this out in public, especially when we come from a world where it says being professional means being separate. It means being a little bit distant, where you kept yourself out of it, where showing up as you was a sign of weakness. So instead, they worry and choose a niche and fiddle with a niche about something that feels a little bit more distant, slightly more palatable, slightly less them. And then they wonder why it doesn't feel right. Well, it doesn't feel right because it's not the best match for you at this time. It's not the truer cut. It's the safe version. It's the professional version. And I'm going to share with you that that safe version rarely works out as the true one. I want to tell you about my own version of this. After I had been coaching clients for a while, I knew that I wanted to work with coaches. I love working with coaches, specifically coaches who are skilled but stuck. Coaches who've done all the right things, they followed all the programs, but they weren't getting the traction that they wanted. I wanted to work with those of us who were working hard for too little result. Now, how did I come to this niche? I'd been coaching for a while and I knew this is where I wanted to go. Well, guess what? I knew it because I have been that coach. When I left corporate, I did my coach training and I hit the wall. Skill alone, my coaching skills couldn't get me through. When it was time for me to start signing paying clients right after my coach training, I needed to sign 5 paying clients for my certification program. And I was working and working and working and working to get those clients. And guess what? Day one of that certification program started and I had 0 clients. Granted, I needed 5 paying clients to be in that program and I had 0. I got to tell you, that was humiliating. I was a high achiever. I succeeded in so many places. I knew I was meant to be a coach, and yet I didn't have any clients. So I had to figure it out. I had to figure out in a different way, and I did. And I built my business from scratch because I needed it. When I had that experience, then when I was drawn to working with coaches to help them, I was helping them overcome a challenge that I knew deeply, that was humiliating, that I had figured out. So it's like a really vulnerable things to share with you. And for a while, I didn't want to tell people that. So I kind of made it sound professional. I softened it. I made it a little bit more general. I didn't admit publicly what I'm saying to you right now, that I became a coach for coaches because of the time I needed that help too. And that I have overcome that challenge. And I know how uncomfortable it is. I don't want other coaches to have to experience that. And guess what? When I showed up, and I shared my story, it worked so much better because I put myself back in. Because people recognize the truth. They don't feel the same connection to that polished version. Truth spoken from the heart. So here's a question that I would love you to sit with. Who do you most want to work with? Not who's your target market, but who do you really feel like you would love to work with? And then ask yourself this: what is your connection to that person? What do you know about their experience? Now, if the answer to that second question has got a personal connection, if it comes from somewhere inside of your own story, I want you to notice whether you've been leaving that part out. Have you been describing your work in kind of a clinical tone, or have you been describing it so that that person really hears you? That part is not the extra part. It's not oversharing. It's the thing that makes someone read your words and think, oh, she understands me. Makes them listen to your podcast episode or watch your video and think, oh, wow, they are talking to me. That's what helps. It's not the niche the way you will describe it in the demographic. It's the more honest niche is the one that is for you. I am not saying that your niche work is done. I'm saying that the work that is left probably isn't about the words. It's probably about courage and the decision to let the true version be the public version. And that decision takes courage, the kind that feels a little risky because it is. And it is so worth it. Here's what I want to leave you with. Write down the niche, not the one that you've been polishing, not the one that is the public one. Write down the one you wish you could own, but you tell yourself you're not quite ready. Read it back to yourself and ask yourself honestly, is it really that I'm not ready, or am I just nervous to claim it? And if that's you, it's okay. It's good information because now you're working on the right problem. You know the niche. Now you're working on the courage to own it. I am so glad you're here. These days, I have space in my private practice for a couple of more clients when this episode goes live. If that's you, we should talk. I'll put a link in the episode notes so you can book a time and see if it's the right time for us to be working together. Thanks again for spending so much time with me. I'll see you on the next episode.